Thank you so much for stopping by my studio. My name is Jerry. I'm a filmmaker and educator, and over the past 20 years, I've directed and distributed multiple feature films. And so today what we're gonna do is we're gonna write a screenplay in real time, taking a factual event from 1987 and actually use that as inspiration for your next film. So let's get started. Something to remember whenever you're working on your screenplay and when you're doing all these things, this is a rough draft. This is gonna be messy. This isn't gonna be clean. We're gonna fix it later, so don't stress yourself about it. All right, so we got a 1987 TV guide here. The film takes place in 1987, and so I wanted a TV guide to see what they were looking like. The first article that came up was called "Beware of Fresh Ideas, Your Control of TV is Slipping." And I was kind of caught off guard because the film that I'm writing is all about media's manipulation on this society. In an effort to be able to communicate with people, they were adding stuff into the broadcast, turn your light on at this time, and then see if people are actually hearing what you're broadcasting. So before we get started, if this is the first time you've ever written a screenplay, I'm not gonna be going over all the basics. I suggest you check out that video right there. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna do a little beatboard action. I can double click and I'm gonna get some scene titles and some beat titles. I wanna have anywhere from 3 to 5 beats. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of drop them on here. The things that I need, and I know that I'm gonna need in this, is going to be lights on. That will be when the people in the neighborhood actually see what's happening. I need the actual broadcast. I need somebody that's watching it. And then I also need them to be conflicted about it. And I'm gonna go back into page view. You can go to whatever you want. It's totally up to you. You do you. I know I'm gonna need an interior house, and I'm gonna need that to be night. Interior is INT, exterior is EXT. So think about where the camera is going to be. So if the camera is going to be inside the house, even if it was looking out a window, that would still be interior house. Then we would explain it to be interior house. We see out the window, which you're going to see here in a minute. That's how I'm going to kind of write this. Interior studio. So this is going to be the actual broadcast that we're going to see. And then I also want to see exterior house. So that will be looking back when this person sees that light come on. And then I'm just gonna have like a little bit of a montage as well. So I'm gonna say exterior neighborhood, and then we're gonna talk about how to write a little bit of a montage into here so you can see all that. I don't know what the order of these scenes is gonna be yet. So when you're writing your film, know that it comes in different spurts. Sometimes I get everything all at once, sometimes I don't. So interior house night, interior studio night, exterior house night, and then exterior neighborhood night. Today I'm gonna get weird, I'm gonna write it out of order. A man comes to the window and looks out on and off across the street. So that's me taking my inspiration from this piece here. So I have the lights coming on and off, and I'm putting it in there. So the house is dimly lit. The TV is the only glow. Outside the window, we can see a house in the distance. Currently, all of the lights are off. So like I said, we're gonna take that house across the street. That's gonna be kind of our inciting incident to be able to get that man to come to the window. Interior studio night. A ragtag TV studio is lit by standard household lights. So in this article that I was reading, most of it is coming over the radio. So we're gonna do it from a TV standpoint. So I'm taking this story and I'm kind of adapting it. So I'm trying to take what was happening there, take it into another medium, use it as inspiration that I can jump off on. So Ragtag Studio is lit by standard household lights. Looks like it's in a garage. I can start to use the things that I already have access to. Don't overcomplicate it. Make your film. There are a few people, but one man is illuminated on screen. This is where I want to make sure that everybody knows that some people are hearing the broadcast, some people aren't. So I think this will probably be how it starts the film, but I'm gonna put in kind of like a little bit of a montage here. And so for a montage to be written, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make them as individual kind of bullet points. I'm not gonna put the bullet point there, but I'm gonna make enters in between each one of them so you know that they're different shots. This is just a way for filmmakers to be able to communicate with cinematographers, with screenwriters, to other screenwriters, to your actors. A row of houses sits in the darkness. Only the street lights illuminate the empty rooms. Okay, so that's like a wide shot. I see that as a wide shot, and that will be just only street lights. Houses have no lights on it, so that gets you the feeling that everybody is going to be gone. They're not going to be there. All right, so enter. Now we know that this is going to be a new shot. A house on a cul-de-sac. Let's say at the end of a cul-de-sac turns on, let's go with the front, like the front porch light, turns on the front porch light temporarily. I'm gonna say almost as if using Morse code. I'm gonna come back to that. So what I'm thinking about with the Morse code is how we could do the flickering on and off. Whatever the question is, we'll come back to that here in a second. So a house at the end of the cul-de-sac turns on the front porch light temporarily, turns on and off. That makes more sense. The front porch light temporarily. And I think I don't know if that's how you spell cul-de-sac, but we're gonna leave it for right now. Like I said, there's gonna be spelling errors, all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna fix it later. Let's just get the ideas down. I think we need one more. So let's maybe say like an empty field, houses, farmhouse. So this is gonna be the house of the person that's technically in the dad in the movie, but you wouldn't know that in this scene yet because we'll be coming back to that later. So I think we should set that up a little bit. How do I wanna say this? A farmhouse sits in the distance, way off the street. The same pattern of light can be seen flashing from the back porch. So I'm thinking if there's a couple houses that do see it and a couple houses that don't see it, then we can start to build in this kind of world and this mythology a little bit. Now it's time for our sponsor. I'm just kidding, there are no sponsors. I'm gonna try to keep that as long as possible, so if you like and subscribe, that keeps going and I won't be reading that kind of stuff while we're doing it. Let's just get creative. The only thing you can see that we're using out of that original article is that flashing on and flashing off of the lights. I'm kind of building everything else out as we go. I want to put in some voiceover, so I need to establish a character. And so I'm just going to, for the time being, we're going to call him Jackson. And so Jackson is the dad, and he is going to be the one that's reading this like a news anchor. He's about 51, wears a suit that is, let's say, ill-fitting for the occasion, but probably the only one he owns. So the reason that I want him in a suit is because that is what we're used to for news anchors. And I don't know if that's for better or for worse, but for right now, I think that's what I want to do. Let's start with basic here, and we're going to go into just like a normal kind of news report. Citizens, welcome to the nightly update. I don't know exactly how he's gonna speak whenever he takes these things, but I do wanna get it kind of framed out, and then I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna punch up the dialogue. So this is a rough draft. I'm just trying to get formatting in, so don't judge your work and don't delete any of it. I know I've deleted a couple here probably, but try to not delete it. Just let it flow, let it be what it's gonna be, and see what you come up with. Last thing you wanna do is delete something and find out next week it was really, really good, right? Today is, I'm gonna go with what's on this TV guide here, just for inspiration. So August 29th, 1980s. And then what I'm gonna do here is, because I don't have them right now, is insert some real news events. I want to maybe try to find the weather and the location of where I'm at. So I'm kind of in the Midwest is where this takes place. Now what we're gonna do is I need this house here to be next. So I'm gonna delete that and I'm gonna come down into this part and put it in. So you can see I'm just moving things around. I didn't know where these were gonna be when I started, so now we're here. Instead of a garage, even though I might shoot it in my garage, I'm gonna say a barn, because this guy lives kind of out in the woods. He's kind of farther away from town and he would have shot probably in a barn. Also, when you're thinking about what the location is, you can start to hear maybe the sound is gonna be different if I'm in a 10 room versus a wood room. There are a few people, but one man is illuminated on screen. Illuminated in, let's go in the distance. Jackson 51 wears a small infant, probably the only one. Good day, citizens. Welcome to the nightly news. I don't know his last name yet. What I want to do now is I want to hear some stuff off screen while this is happening in the other room. So we see Jackson, he delivers the news. Now I'm gonna press enter and I'm going to put some delivers. Now we're gonna go Jackson. This is just going to be VO. In my imagination, we're able to see into the kitchen a little bit, but we're inside of the house. So what I'm gonna say here, let's go interior kitchen first, instead of just interior house. So the house is dimly lit. The TV is the only glow. We can, let's say we can hear, there we go. We can hear Jackson as he delivers the news. And instead of voiceover, because it's not really voiceover, when we film this, I will make sure that we film everything that Jackson's gonna say in every environment. And then I can decide later how I'm gonna edit it together, if we're seeing him on camera, off camera, voiceover, off screen. So let's go real news events delivered. And I'll look those up here in a minute. Outside the window, we can, here we go. So that's probably gonna go into a different one. That's probably gonna go into interior living room night. Yeah, there we go. I don't think this person has a name. So, man stands at the stove, water boiling. He is lit by the overhead light of the stove. the steam rises, and the kettle begins to sing. Okay, now I'm just getting really fancy here. Imagine like that teapot's there. He's lit top down. We're from behind him, so we can't actually see his face yet. We hear what he's hearing. The reason we're doing this is because I want the audience to be able to understand exactly what this character is in. I want to start establishing the world. With whatever news events that are happening, I'm hoping that I can set the tone that there's a lot of, like bad things happening. Part of me wants to use news that's not from 1987, but news from today, and put that in there, and that's going to start to build out that universe a little bit as well. So think about what events you could use, how you can use time. The TV flickers from the other room. We can hear Jackson as he delivers the news, real news. A man stands at the stove, water boiling. He is lit by the overhead light. The steam rises and the kettle begins to sing. Okay, interior living room night. Outside the window, we can see a house in the distance. Currently, all of the lights are off. The man enters the room with a cup of tea and sits to watch the news. In the background, we see a light come on and off. I also want this next scene to feel like it's being watched by a surveillance camera. And so how would I do that? I need to talk that the camera's way up high. From up high, we can see the entire room wall to wall. We don't have to put anything in there about the camera, right? We can just say that you are able to see wall to wall. That lets us know that we're gonna need a wide lens. We don't want to put a lot of description in there like that. We don't, because we want the audience to just be able to read it, but I also want you to know the feeling that I'm going for. And if you're gonna film it yourself, you may not have to do that. But if you're gonna film it with a group, then you're gonna want to be able to get that information across to them so they understand exactly what your vision is. But the more we have on the page, the more that ends up on the screen. From up high, we can see the entire room wall to wall. The man enters. Then we'll be able to use that other part right here. The man enters the room with a cup of tea. Outside the window, we can see a house in the distance. Currently, all the lights are off. So that means he's gonna be framed kind of by this window that's open, and you'll be able to see a light off in the distance when it comes on. Jackson off screen, once again, I don't know exactly what he's gonna say, but he's gonna keep with the real and news events finishing. Then he's going to drop this little piece. And I'm trying to think of how to do it cryptically, right? I'm just gonna put right now is, the world is changing, let's light up the sky. I don't know if that's gonna be the keyword to do it, but it's kind of cryptic and kind of weird, so we'll go with that right now. In the background, we see a light come on and off. All right, so this is the similar pattern from up here. So in the background, we see a light come on and off. It resembles a similar pattern from before. And so what I'm gonna do here is like, let's cut this and we're gonna take this up to the top. So let's put this back in. So we have that, a ragtag, a row house to sit in the darkness, the cul-de-sac one, a farmhouse sits in the distance. And the way we're doing this now is like, we're assuming that this farmhouse that we're seeing is the same farmhouse as here. If we wanna make sure that that's really, really clear, what we can do is just go exterior, farmhouse, night. A farmhouse sits off in the distance, way off the street. I'm gonna get a little more specific. The cornfields are dead. The barn has huge antenna off the back corner. The same pattern of light can see flashing from the back porch. So it's already flashing to let you know that that's the signal. And then we would cut into this studio, and then we know that that's the same studio from possibly that barn. One of the things you need to keep in mind whenever you're making your film is that you're teaching your audience how to watch it. And so as I'm doing all these little repetitive things, I'm trying to manipulate you to look in different places. If you have enough information in there, then everybody will be confused, and I don't really have to say anything. I don't have to say this is the same place. So the house is dimly lit, the TV flickers in the other room. We can hear Jackson as he delivers the news. A man stands at the stove, water boiling, lit by the overhead light, the steam rises. From up high, we can see the entire room wall to wall. The man enters with a cup of tea and he watches the news. Outside the window, we can see there, looking across the street. And then he looks back to the TV. A sign-off message is on screen. Nothing is being broadcast. And then cut to black. So this is our rough script. You can see that it's very, very loose. We have a lot of room and a lot of potential to change things. And so when you're writing your script, don't get too locked into everything. It's gonna change so many times as you keep working through it. And this will not be remotely what's on screen, but now I have a very, very strong outline that I can keep building on as I continue to build the film. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something today. I'm very excited to take this into the script script and keep adding out and keep fleshing out everything that I'm doing in that film. And so if you'd like to watch more of that behind the scenes, then make sure you subscribe, and I will be doing live streams where I'm working on some of the props and things like that over the coming months. So I hope you have a beautiful day, do something nice for someone, and best of luck with your projects.